From the News 19 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Efren Afante with your tropical update. We continue to track Tropical Storm Florence. The latest information from the National Hurricane Center. Still a robust tropical storm. Winds sustained at 65 miles an hour, gusting to 75. Continues to move to the west-northwest at 16 miles an hour as a strong tropical storm. And the 5-day track still takes it, still as a tropical storm. It does not anticipate to intensify into a Category 1 hurricane, but actually lessen its wind speed by the time it gets to around Thursday morning, just to pick up a little bit more by Friday. But notice the track still keeps it way out in the Atlantic. Here, there are Lesser Antilles Islands. Here's the island of Puerto Rico, and this is expected to stay at least over the next 5 days out in the central mid-Atlantic. Meanwhile, the National Hurricane Center has been watching with great intent Tropical Storm Gordon. Earlier this morning, the National Hurricane Center upgraded it from a potential tropical cyclone to an actual tropical storm. Wind sustained at 45 miles an hour, gusting to 60. It is moving rather quickly to the west-northwest at about 16 miles an hour. By 11 o'clock this morning, it was positioned right over Naples, Florida, just north of Key Largo, and continues to move very quickly. Now, it's not indicated whether it's actually on land or not, but regardless, it is impacting southern Florida. National Hurricane's track will continue moving out into the eastern Gulf and then finally into the northern Gulf area, anywhere between Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama coastline by Tuesday afternoon until it moves further inland into the Midwest and the Central Plains. Now, the track does take it right into the Mississippi Delta. As of late this morning, tropical storm warnings remain in effect for southern Florida, most of the Key Islands, offshore western portions of Florida's coast, and then as you get into the areas off the coast of Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. Now, the latest track from the National Hurricane Center, not so much of the center point, but the cone of uncertainty still has the track now by Tuesday evening, anywhere from New Orleans, Louisiana, through Biloxi, Mississippi, Pensacola, Florida, Mobile, Alabama, and this is the general area where the track for now anticipates it's moving through. So tropical storm warnings remain in effect for those 4 states. A hurricane watch now is in effect for areas of the entire Mississippi Gulf shores and the Alabama Gulf shores throughout the evening as they get into Tuesday night. Hurricane watch is in effect where they anticipate hurricane force winds possible. But regardless of the center line, it's still quite a bit of uncertainty by tomorrow evening of where this will actually make landfall. Now, here's the setup right now. A very broad area of high pressure is over the mid-Atlantic, right off the shoreline. Because of that and all the circulation in a clockwise fashion, you can see showers and thunderstorms have been developing off the coast of South Carolina and Georgia. Well, the flow is coming inland, so it's moving from east to west, and because of that upper level flow, the Tropical Storm Gordon's track will continue to take it into the Gulf states as opposed to veering a little bit into portions of Florida and then going up the coastline. Now, it has been raining over the last 6 hours, plentiful, just least to say, in southern Florida all the way down to the Keys, and that's over the last 6 hours. And you can see where it's well defined right now, just over the areas around Naples, Florida. If there's going to be a center, it's going to be just to the west of Key Largo, and that heavy rainfall continues to push through. But remember, even though it may be raining 2 to 3 inches an hour, it's moving at 16 miles an hour. So the amount of heavy rainfall they're expecting is going to be substantial. Now, the tropical storm warnings remain in effect from Alligator Alley and all points south into the central Keys all the way up to Key Largo. That tropical warning continues until Thursday morning, but a flood watch remains in effect for all of southern Florida and the Key Islands until later on this evening. And so far, radar has estimated that in the eastern portions of the east coast of Florida, from Miami-Dade County all the way down to Largo, they've received anywhere from 1.5 to 2 inches of rainfall. And keep in mind, this is only over the last 12 hours. they're expecting anywhere total of 4 to 6 inches of rainfall by the time it gets done. But flash flood watches are also in effect for the Louisiana parishes, pretty much the entire boot into the southern quarter of Mississippi. That includes the coastline and includes as well the southern shores of Alabama and extreme western Florida panhandle, where they're expecting this to continue until Wednesday night into midnight Thursday morning. The tropical storm warning remains in effect for the southern parishes all the way across into areas just west of Panama City. And the hurricane watch as well, if you notice here, it covers pretty much just around New Orleans and eastern New Orleans all the way across of all of the shorelines of Alabama and of Mississippi. So again, this is a very potent complex. We're going to be watching. All indications is that the track will stay continuing in the Gulf and into the Mississippi Delta. This is not going to impact South Carolina as far as the tropical storm is concerned, but something we're going to be watching very carefully, because with the track that it is right now, all indications that the heavy rainfall and the strong winds associated with Tropical Storm Gordon is going to affect not only Florida, but portions of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama over the course of the next 36 to 48 hours. We'll continue to update and monitor the information that we'll put on air and online on WLTX.com.